It is recorded in the book of Genesis that God called Abram, who would become Abraham, told him to leave everything behind and follow him to the land that he would show him. And the letter to the Hebrews reminds us that when Abram left, he didn't know where he was going. He had absolutely no clue, no idea. Just like the disciples that were called. Jesus said, "Follow me." And they just dropped everything, their livelihood, their families, and followed him. And they didn't know where they were going. And it's usually the case. And we know that Paul reported, in the book of Acts, that God told him to go to Jerusalem. But in that case, because Paul had been busy in the kingdom, being an apostle, and he was very close to God, God told him it's not going to be an easy road. In fact, he sent several prophets to tell him that he would be imprisoned, that he would suffer greatly. And many of us, if you hear such a thing, you would say, maybe God is warning me not to go. Then you just change course. But Paul knew that God had already told him that he had to go to Jerusalem. So when people started crying all over the place, saying, "Please don't go, please, hey, you don't want to suffer, you don't want to be killed," and Paul said, "Just leave me alone, stop crying like that. I know that I have to go." It's only that God had warned him of difficulties ahead. And this thing happened to me. On the 27th of October, 1989, I was still in Nigeria, had no plan to go anywhere at that time. And God warned me that I'm going to go further with him. And he told me in particular to surrender to him the children, my husband, my job. And he said that I would have to suffer. And I was petrified. I thought it was the devil. And our pastor told me, just tell God, if it's you, I accept. So I did, and then forgot about it. And this thing happened in 1995. I was whisked away with no choice of mine. And I found myself in the UK and had to be without our children for a time. Then I got them back with me. But then my husband had to stay behind for a year. I lost my job. I lost everything. All material possessions except my books and a few clothes. I was bereft of friends, away from my comfort zone, in a foreign country I didn't even understand, with a language I could speak but with a foreign accent, and people frowned at me. The experience was pretty traumatic. But eventually, everything turned well. And I knew that I was in the perfect will of God. And anytime things were difficult, even today I would say, well, God, it's your choice. It's your business. I didn't choose. I didn't carry myself to this country. So it's up to you. I'm totally in you. It's what you call the point of no return. When you walk with God at a point, you have surrendered anyway, and there is no way you can go back. The people that went from Egypt, even though some of them wanted to go back there to eat cucumbers and vegetables, they didn't, because that was not the plan of God. And for me, I was not looking forward to going back, but I knew that forever I would remember Nigeria as a lovely place. I really loved it. I identified with it. I was feeling at home like never before. Now I'm on a mission. But you know, the result is that sometimes it's scary to know you are in the hands of God. Like Paul must have felt sometimes, knowing that he was going to Jerusalem and he didn't know anything about it except that it would bring great difficulties. And sometimes when people in church sing, I surrender all, there's that centimeter, that little thing in me that shrinks and say, oh, not another one, not a hardship again, because I've seen so much that I know what it is to fully surrender. And sometimes I look at the people singing and say, maybe they don't know. But it's good. It's just like you marry and you say, I do. What you do, you have no idea what will come your way. But you still do for life. And I've said I do to God for life. And so with sometimes a very scared mind, I said, yes, God, I surrender. Please have mercy. But God is still good. He is always good. Psalm 23 said, the Lord is my shepherd. I will not lack. He will be all the way with me, and He will carry me through. And the same will apply to you. Don't be too scared. God will pass you through difficulty. He will crush you. He will shape you. He will mold you. But He will always do that with lovely hands, tender hands, and a tender heart.